No one noticed Ethan Miller. Not in school, not at work, not even in his own family. He wasn't the smartest kid in class. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room. He wasn't the one people expected great things from. He was just average. And in a world that celebrates extremes, average feels invisible. Growing up in a small American town, Ethan learned early how it feels to be overlooked. Teachers praised other students, coaches picked other players, friends slowly drifted toward people who seemed more important. By the time Ethan turned 22, that feeling followed him into adulthood. He worked a low-paying job at a warehouse, stacking boxes for 10 hours a day. Every night he came home exhausted, hands sore, mind empty. He'd sit on his bed, stare at the ceiling and wonder, is this really my life? Social media didn't help. Everywhere he looked, people his age were winning, new cars, new apartments, promotions, smiles that looked permanent. Meanwhile, Ethan felt stuck. One night after another long shift, Ethan opened his phone and saw a post from an old classmate. Hard work pays off. Blessed. That was the moment something inside him cracked. Not in anger, not in jealousy, but in honesty. He whispered to himself, I'm working hard too. So why does it feel like I'm going nowhere? That night, Ethan didn't sleep. Instead, he made a quiet decision, one no one else knew about. He decided to give himself 1 year to stop waiting for validation, 1 year to stop blaming circumstances, 1 year to prove, at least to himself, that his life could change. No announcements, no motivational posts, no dramatic promises, just action. The next morning, Ethan woke up at 5 a.m. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. Before work, he started running. At first, just 5 minutes. His lungs burned. His legs begged him to stop, but he kept going. After work, instead of collapsing into bed, he studied. Online courses, free videos, books borrowed from the library, topics that scared him, skills he thought were not for people like him. There were days he failed, days he skipped workouts, days he understood nothing he studied, days he wanted to quit, and many nights he asked himself, what's the point? No one even notices. But that became his fuel, because this time, he wasn't doing it for applause. He was doing it for growth. Months passed. Slowly, changes appeared. Not the kind Instagram celebrates, but the kind that matter. He stood straighter. He spoke with more confidence. He stopped apologizing for existing. At work, people noticed his discipline, not because he talked about it, but because he showed up differently. When an opportunity came to train for a better role, others hesitated. Ethan didn't. He failed the first assessment, then the second. But on the third try, he passed. Not because he was special, but because he didn't stop. A year after that sleepless night, Ethan stood in a new apartment. Not fancy, not huge, but earned. He looked around and smiled, not because life was perfect, but because he was no longer the same person. Then something unexpected happened. A younger coworker came up to him and said, "Hey man, how did you turn things around? I feel stuck like you used to." Ethan paused. That's when he realized something powerful. The year no one believed in him became the year he learned to believe in himself. And that changed everything. If you feel invisible right now, if you feel behind, if you feel like your hard work isn't paying off, listen closely. You don't need permission to change your life. You don't need applause to start, and you don't need anyone else to believe in you, as long as you don't quit on yourself. Sometimes the quiet years build the strongest people, and one day without warning, the world notices what you built in silence.